deliver value. Every opportunity that you have, deliver as much value as you possibly can. Because by doing that over time, you will earn the customer's trust.
This is Don't Fear Grit with Rob Taormina. Marketing strategies and advertising technologies to help you build a better business.
All right, in this last part of the 3-part series, we're going to be talking about 2 things that we learned about in the last episode where we interviewed Doug. He is a small business owner. He is an entrepreneur. He owns All About Grout. As you guys have learned, he's an amazing entrepreneur. Now, if you've landed on this episode without listening to one prior, I recommend pausing this, going back to the episode right before this one where we interview Doug, because then this episode is going to make a lot more sense. But again, that interview with Doug was fantastic. Doug really just went above and beyond to reveal a lot of what he has done that has helped him to build his business, and I highly recommend it. But 2 high-level things that really stand out. And that number 1 that we actually mentioned in the part 1 of the series is the formula of how to bring a customer from being a person to a paying customer. And that life cycle looks like this: is you first give value that helps you to earn trust, which then gives you the opportunity to earn a transaction. And oftentimes we like to skip the first 2 and just go right for the transaction. And what we end up sounding like is like this: hey, here's my product for $9.99. Why don't you buy this product from us? Right? And no one really likes that. People really will buy into what you're doing and become a long-term loyal customer is if you respect that life cycle and understand that first you give value that then yields trust, you earn their trust, and then once they trust you, you have that opportunity for a transaction that will last more than just that one transaction. That's really the true life cycle of a customer that will help you to grow your business. And so again, we touched on that in episode 1, and what we learned from Doug is he understands that process. And what he does is on the front end, he gives lots of value. He gives information, he shows the process, he's honest and transparent with the customer, whether it be on the phone or in person when he's giving a proposal. And that whole process on the front end of him giving value helps to create something that's amazing. The customer then ends up trusting Doug. Now, once the customer trusts Doug, it's now easier for Doug now to get a transaction there. And this is where I want to pick up, and this is sort of the second high sort of level thing that we talked about here. So the first was that formula, the customer life cycle of value, trust, transaction. And the second part, I think, is something that most people neglect. And I think it's just an area that I think if we got as entrepreneurs, we would be able to get a lot more success out on the front end of things. And it's the following: is getting a customer to a place where it's hard to say no. Now, I know we've heard the whole phrase, we're making it easy for them to say yes, but in this case, I want to focus on the phrase, which might be brand new for a lot of you guys, is getting the customer to a place where it's hard for them to say no. There's a big difference there. Now, here's the main difference, is when you're going after the customer and making it very easy for them to say yes, we're talking about customers that are sort of already your customers that have already made the decision to buy a product or service like yours, right? And they're sort of on the fence. But making it hard for a customer to say no, these are customers that have already said no. These are customers that were not on the fence. They were already leaning towards a no anyway. So by approaching it this way, you're also now trying to convert those people that were not likely to convert. And so what is the technique? Like you might be thinking like that's impossible. Well, it's not. People do this all the time in business. Doug, in the episode that we had prior to this one, really showed us some great examples on how just to do that. So if you want to turn your business into a successful business, if you're like struggling to convert the customers that are landing your way, maybe you're someone's like, yeah, I got the leads, I just can't convert them. Or even on the front end, I'm getting the traffic, but I'm not getting the leads. Well, think of it this way. How can I present myself, my business, my message, my product, my service in such a way where it's hard for the consumer to say no. Doug does a great job at this. And here's some great examples that I recommend if you're landing on this episode first before you listen to the one before that, I recommend pausing and going back and then coming back to this moment. But what Doug outlines to us is incredible. And it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science at all. Number one, he focuses on the customer, especially on the front end. Great customer service, being available, accessible, answering the questions when they're asking the questions, delivering on exactly what he's promising, whether that be timeline or the quality of the work, and then also making sure that the quality of the work ends up actually being better. Ends up being even better. Now, that doesn't mean set low expectations so that you can easily exceed that. No, that means still setting high expectations, but still over-delivering when you can, creating an amazing customer experience, presenting yourself in a way where you have integrity, where you have faith in what you're doing, like you have a lot of faith and trust in your process, and you know that you are the difference maker, and you're presenting value. You're showing the process. You're not hiding anything, because you know that you can deliver on that stuff. You know already that you're an expert, that you're the best at what you do. So when you're talking to that customer on the front end, you're speaking with confidence and authority. And by delivering all of that value on the front end, again, it could be showing them how to do it, walking them through the process, or how about this, being creative for them. I've learned where most people are not creative to the point where they're able to figure out exactly what they want. It's true. I know that sounds weird saying that, but most people have an idea what they want, but they lack the creativity to execute on that. What you could do as the service provider coming in is elevate their creative elements. Let's say you're renovating a shower and they just offer a simple solution and they're sort of confused. You can sense they're confused. Why don't, as value for free, you give them some options? Hey, you could do this. You could do A, B, and C. These are all options for you. You could do all of these things. And you're not doing it as an upsell, but you're doing it to genuinely offer value, because that is what will equal trust. Now, this is so important. This front-end process will help convert those people that were no and help them turn them into a, wow, you're making it really hard for me to say no. And the second thing is price. There's ways that you can price out your stuff, number one, to make it really attractive. Right? You can itemize things a lot better. You can honestly, with integrity, outline exactly what it is that the cost is going for. Are there more than a person on the job? Are there 2, 3 people on the job? List that. And honestly, list why. When you're doing that and you're simplifying it, let's say a 10,000 job, you have 3 people, you can be like, listen, we're going to have 3 people on this because we want to do a really great job. It requires it in order to be able to, let's say, do it in 2 days versus the 4 days that I'm saying. That's fine. We could do that. But then it's going to be about $333 per person. We need 3 people on the job, right? And make it really attractive that way. There are ways that you can frame your answer so that you're turning a no into, wow, you're making it really hard for me to say no. Also, give them payment opportunities. Don't just say, hey, there's only one way to do this. It's only the expensive way. Why not giving multiple options and let the consumer decide? And say, hey, there's a couple ways we could do this. We can go all out and we could go the high-end luxury route and it's going to be $10,000. Or what we could do is we could put a Band-Aid on it right now. We can absolutely do that. You're going to probably have to revisit this and sort of rip everything out again and readdress a renovation later on. But definitely, you can absolutely do a Band-Aid now and it'll get you through the next season or it'll get you through the next year. And that one will only be $500. Give them opportunities to say yes to you. Make it hard for them to say no to you. That's what you want to do. So I'm just giving you some, some of the more obvious examples of ways that you could do that. But I want to change your mindset a little bit. That's the point of this episode, is we all try to look at the advertising world and our consumers we're going to make it very easy for them to say yes. Well, I say in addition to that, think about the consumer in a different way. Change your mindset, making it almost impossible for them to say no to you. It'll help you craft and frame your message differently. It'll help you to frame and communicate to the consumer on the front end maybe a little bit differently. And we're targeting those people that we're definitely going to say no to. You can actually turn a no into a yes by just changing your mindset. It's amazing what you can accomplish. And I want to end on this, which is the way that we started in part 1 of this 3-part series, is that life cycle of a customer. And it's the formula that we teach in many of our courses. It's really at the heart really of every course that I teach. But it's this. It's value, trust, transaction. If you want to make it hard for your customers to say no, if you want to earn a long-term customer, if you want longevity in your business, if you want loyalty within your customer base, then you have to look at it like a formula and look at it like this. Number 1, deliver value. Every opportunity that you have, deliver as much value as you possibly can. Because by doing that over time, you will earn the customer's trust. And there's value and there's power in that. Once you've earned the customer's trust, that gifts you the opportunity for a transaction. That's the secret to success. And it's really not so much a secret. It's not rocket science. It's something that we can all provide. And I encourage you all to sort of rethink your approach to business. If you're struggling to land a client, if you're struggling to convert, if you're struggling to bring back clients, if you're struggling to get referrals, right? Maybe it lies in one of these things that we discussed today. So I want to again thank Doug for joining us in our interview. He was amazing. I want to have him back. His journey, I have a feeling, is going to take him to really, really far places. I think his business is going to blow up even more than it has. And I appreciate him sharing all of his secret tactics that has helped him to grow his business. But I really looking forward to hearing all your success stories. Find us on social, guys. We're all over the place. Don't fear grit. All right. So guys, remember, don't fear the process and don't fear grit. We'll see you next time.